Do you remember the times when actors were, well, only just actors and not crazy activists? Yeah, there were a lot of them in the past. Wes, hi everybody, and welcome to yet another video. Do you remember when actors were actually decent human beings and knew their places? Yes, those times happened a long time ago in the past. However, this particular case is about, two articles that have popped up recently over at Bounding into Comics that are referring to an interview that Sir Ian McKellen, Gandalf, did over 20 years ago, and it all comes from a video made by theonering.com, not to be confused with theonering.net. Those are two completely different sites. But first, one needs to think about the fact that there must have been a lack of information and content, quote unquote, to have to be like really writing two articles about an interview that happened 20 years ago and is talking about things that people know, especially then people who are fantasy aficionados and the Lord of the Rings fans. But I suppose it is always nice to remind ourselves of these little tiny teensy things, and it always warms one's heart when they read about something like that. So the first article, and I shall post a link in the description down below so you can read it for yourself in its entirety. It says that Gandalf actor Ian McKellen explains he read J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings every night to prepare for the role. Now, if I remember correctly, we all should know that because on the special extended edition discs and not even to the newly released Blu-ray releases, but the old DVD releases to the extended edition, there is a multiple of making of films, and in one of them you can see clearly Ian McKellen in Gandalf costume walking around with a book, The Lord of the Rings, and of course Peter Jackson sitting on set and reading The Lord of the Rings with, I don't know now, Alan Lee's or John Howe's painted cover. And so we know, and it has been reiterated on and on and on for the last year, at least, since The Lord of the Rings has got into a spotlight of the wide audience. And, of course, the not adaptation and abomination called The Rings of Prime. That, of course, they honored the source material, and this is, of course, something that I have covered in my videos many a time before, that there is a vast difference between an adaptation and an abomination, and that what The Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson and the team achieved to do is to adapt the story beautifully, and so that it kept the core and kept the message, quote unquote, and kept the atmosphere and kept the general feeling, and at the same time stayed true, close enough to the source material that you can recognize clearly that it is The Lord of the Rings. And even though they made quite a lot of changes and changed a lot of details, you can still say that this is something that honors Professor Tolkien and not craps on him like The Rings of Power does. And so this article is talking about the fact that Gandalf, or Ian McKellen, said, or was, talking about him meeting Peter Jackson, talking to him on set, and that he went into the studios or on set and saw Peter Jackson watching what they did the previous day, and that he had a book in his hand all the time, or the book, The Lord of the Rings, and that he himself, Ian McKellen, carried his also, and that they discussed different things and aspects about the character of Gandalf. But they always did what Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne, those hacks from Amazon, just claimed to do, is just that they went back to the book, back to the book, which ultimately Peter Jackson and the team, Ian McKellen included, did. They walked around the set with the Lord of the Rings in their hands, after all. So this is something that is not being done very much these days. Every adaptation we see is, it seems to me that there is a competition at what adaptation can be further from the source material. And I'm not sure which one is winning anymore, really. Well, I think that The Rings of Power is very, very, very high in the ranks, along with Netflix's The Witcher. And for those of you who have read and seen The Wheels of Time, you are telling me that it is not a good adaptation at all. I haven't seen it. I can't say anything about it at all. But I have received many comments saying, yes, Amazon messed up that one as well. But the other interview... the other article, which referring to the same thing, really, says Ian McKellen explains his job as an actor is not to presume to tell the audience what to think ever in anything I do. Which, once again, we know that he said that because it has been covered in articles and videos many a time before. But, why not remind ourselves of it? So we know that each and every time a modern actor opens their mouth, it's just blather and blather and blather coming out of it. Just, propaganda, virtue signaling nonsense, just exactly the opposite of what Ian McKellen here is saying. Just saying people or telling people what they should do, what they should not do, and how they should think. And just trying to express their own feelingsies, not even opinions, is their feelingsies. And trying to get as much attention as possible. And that's mainly done for attention. Let us admit that. It's mainly or exclusively done for attention. Those people are not, as clever as to really believe they can change the general audience's points of view in many ways. Is just to get attention, because the market is oversaturated with films, and the market is oversaturated with TV shows, especially streaming services, actors. There are too many of them trying to get a job, too many of them trying to lick the boots of one movie studio or another. And so once again, it's like a competition. Who can be more virtuous, who can be more progressive, who can say more things that will get more retweets and likes and thumbs ups. And so what he said in this interview, Sir Ian McKellen, the article says, McKellen was asked by a reporter, what is the one message that you would like the audiences to get? The one thing that will be the legacy of the Lord of the Rings movies? And the Gandalf actor responded, I wouldn't presume to tell an audience what to think, ever, in anything I do. He continued, I am not a politician, I am not a proselytizer, I'm not a pamphleteer, I'm an actor, and I work on behalf of people who do the writing, who have the message. And then from there, he explained his role as an actor. My job is not to tell the audience anything. It's just to explain the person I'm playing beyond the side of the character I'm playing. Good or bad, I don't judge the character. McKellen then provided an example. When I played Richard III, I didn't say, I'm going to tell the audience why they shouldn't like tyranny and dictators. I just got on with explaining why Richard III turned out to be the way he was. And the same with Gandalf. I do my best to impersonate them, but I can't anticipate the audience's reaction. So, and that's precisely what, actors should be doing. They get a role to play a character. They should study the character as much as possible, according to the script or the source material, or ideally the combination of the both, or if it is an original script, so that just the script and the writer who wrote it and the director and his or her directions, and just do their best work. Just perform. Give a masterful Academy Award-worthy performance, if it is in their ability. And if they are being interviewed, I think that the thing they should be focusing on is the role, the progress, the process of movie making, how they prepared for it, everything about the craft, about the movie they are making, about the entertainment aspect of it, about the escapist aspect of it. Of course, if we are talking about fantasy science fiction, if we are, I don't know, playing in some sort of biopic about a whatever, whoever from like a civil rights movement, then they should maybe like talk about that. But this is a completely different case here. We're talking about fantasy, right? So yeah, although these articles are a reiteration of many things that we know, it was nice to get reminded of it. And let me know in the comments down below what you think. And that will be all. Thank you very much for watching. And Namaste.